everybody and welcome back to my channel. My name's Rachel, this is Stitched Up. So today's video is going to be a pattern review and the pattern I've selected is what I'm wearing. This is the Selja Knot Tee by Named Patterns. Now this t-shirt is actually an old pattern of theirs and was originally released in the spring of 2014, so we're talking it's 5 years old now. However, it's one that I've never sort of looked at before. In fact, I've overlooked it and I'm not really sure why, because it's an absolute fantastic little pattern, so I thought that I would talk to you about this today. Now Valentine's Day has just been and gone, and on Valentine's Day Named released a code to get 20% off their entire range of patterns, and I have the lovely Alex of Gingerhead & Co to thank for that, because I just immediately dismissed it thinking it was just in relation to their Breaking the Pattern book, but it wasn't. It was actually all their patterns. So as soon as Alex highlighted that to me, I went straight on to look at what I was going to get, because those of you that know me know that I am a huge fan of Named Patterns, and the reason for that is because Named draft for a taller figure and I'm 5'10", Named Patterns draft for 5'8", so I generally find that I'd have very little, if any, alterations to make to their patterns. With all the big four and all the other indie designers out there, or the majority of them, I have to lengthen every pattern piece before I even start doing any other alterations whatsoever, and it's usually things like lengthening sleeve lengths and bodice lengths and trouser length and skirt length, and yeah, they are just standard alterations that I have to do to every pattern. So Named are a great choice for me because it usually means that I don't have to do any of that, and this top is no exception. So let me just stand back and I will show you the top in more detail. Okay, so this is the t-shirt. As you can see, it's a relaxed fit t-shirt that comes to sort of hip length, and it's got this really lovely little tie at the front here, and I was drawn to this because everybody seems to be making the Jarrah jumper from Megan Nielsen at the minute, but as we're getting into spring I knew that I needed more sort of just casual t-shirts in my wardrobe, but rather than just a standard t-shirt, I was really attracted to this because I thought this little cute knot detail at the front there is just something a little bit different from your standard t-shirt. It's got a seam down the front, so the pattern itself, the t-shirt itself, is made up of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pattern pieces. So you've got a front bodice piece here, you've got a side piece here, and then you've got one back piece, a neckband, which if I just come in closer you can just probably see that there, and then obviously the little cap sleeves, and essentially yeah, that's it. So the tie at the front is like that, and the seam down the front is just stitched to a pivot point here, and then the edges are, well, before I actually stitched it together I overlocked both edges of the front two panels and then stitched it to the, what's it called, the little notch point, and then the rest of it is just turned under and stitched at the front, and that's what makes the little tie. And yeah, it's really nice. I can imagine that if you wanted to, you could shorten this if you wanted to make it sort of high waist length, a little crop top, and then you can just tie it right round your middle to emphasize that, but I quite like this length over jeans. I think that's really nice. The hem at the bottom is simply turned over, and I've used a very small zigzag stitch to go around that. I could have used a twin needle, but you know, I couldn't be bothered to set my sewing machine up. The majority of this is done on the overlocker, to be honest. The sleeves, the little cap sleeves, again, are just turned over and stitched. The neckband is a standard neckband, but I didn't top stitch it down. It doesn't actually recommend that in the pattern, and I found that I didn't need to. It's sitting really nicely. I do like how it's sitting at the back as well. It's the size of it is perfect actually. You don't get any of that gaping that you sometimes get. Now this pattern is designed for thin knit fabrics. They class it as a very simple pattern. If I just show you the pattern instructions here. So it does describe it as a very simple pattern. Now I would say from a construction point of view, it is very simple. However, from the fabric choice, if you're not used to sewing with knits, or your repertoire of knit sewing generally extends to pontes, double jerseys and scubas, those kinds of sort of heavier weight knits, they are totally the wrong fabric choice for this particular pattern. And it does say that you need a light elastic fabric. So you are looking for things like a viscose jersey, which is what this is, or things like a very fine cotton jersey, something with a good drape to it. So if you use a heavier weight fabric, it's going to be too stiff for this little knot detail at the front. So yeah, and the thing is, with those lighter weight jerseys, they do tend to be a little bit more awkward to sew. It's very easy to stretch out hems and stretch out neckbands so that they don't sit nice and flat. In fact, I don't think I've done a completely brilliant job with these sleeves, but you know, this is just a little casual top and this was my first effort. So I made up the UK size 14. I wanted it to be quite loose, and to be honest, as you know, I've put loads of weight on in the last year and I needed this to be a little bit bigger and looser on me to hide those lumps and bumps that I've still got at the minute. And I used about just over a metre of fabric. Now, the other thing to bear in mind with this particular pattern, if I just show you the pattern pieces on the instructions, if I can find them, here we go. So these are the pattern pieces here. You've got your two front pattern pieces, which they're actually upside down on this picture because these points here are what form the tie. So if you imagine it upside down that way, that's obviously the front with the tie there. You've got the back piece, which is there, the neckband, and then there's two sleeves. And as you can see from the layout instructions here, you actually cut all these out on the single fold. So normally with most patterns, obviously you have your fabric double folded and place your pattern pieces out and cut them, but obviously these are all on the single fold. So you do need to make sure that your pattern pieces are all facing the right way, whether they're up or down. Otherwise you'll end up with cutting them out wrong and it won't sew together, and then you'll be devastated. So anyway, yeah, the other thing it mentions for you to do is to use stay tape or elastic on the shoulder seams here. So this is to stabilise your fabric. Now, particularly with draping knits like this, it is really, really useful to use a stay tape or a very thin elastic on the shoulders here. It stops your knits stretching out as you wear them like this over the course of the day. What I use is this. Let me just grab it and I'll show you. I use this here, which I've got a huge roll of it, and this is basically an interfacing. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it's an interfacing. So it's an iron-on interfacing. In fact, hang on a second. If I can just show you that there. It's an iron-on interfacing. And it's got like a cord running through the centre of it, so it's lovely actually. And I bought this whole roll of it from a seller called Miss Chloe. I will link to it down below, and I think all of this roll cost me £3.99. It's going to last me a long time. So so yeah, that's perfect for stabilising the shoulders in these lightweight drapey knits. What else can I tell you about this top? Named instructions, as per usual, are fairly lightweight, but if you've sewn a few things, you know, you're going to find this straightforward. There are plenty of little pictures. If I just show you there's some really good little diagrams to show you how to make the point of the knot front really nice and neat, and how to stitch that. And also for doing the neckband just there as well. So if you've not done one of those before, what I would say is this neckband fits this top really, really well. There are a few that I've used before where you end up with a little bit of puckering, or it doesn't quite fit properly, and I don't know whether that's maybe just me that's not cut them out at the right size or whatever, or I've stretched the garment out, but I found that this actually fit it perfect with no puckering, no stretching out. It's lovely. Really quick to make. I made this up probably in about an hour and a half once I'd got it cut out. In fact, I was so pleased with it that I decided to make 2 more. So I'm going to go put on the next one and then I'll come back and show you that one. Okay, so I'm back. So this is the next one I made out of another cotton jersey. Again, it's a really lightweight one, so it's going to be perfect for spring and summer. And this is just in a black fabric with multicoloured spots all over it. Again, I've got the little tie detail at the front there. Again, I made no alterations to this particular pattern whatsoever. I've kept it the same length. It's sewed up really quick, and yeah, love it. So that's number 2. I'm going to put on number 3, which is actually my favourite one, so I'll be back in a few seconds. So this is number 3 and this is my favourite one. So this again is a lightweight cotton jersey in this fab leopard print, and I love it. I think it's just gorgeous. All these 3 fabrics I bought from one of the Cloe fabric sales. They were all really cheap, either £2 or £3 a metre, something like that, and just perfect for this. So again, it's got the really nice neckline, and I love how nice and neat that's gone in. Again, I've just used a very small zigzag stitch to turn over the hems and stitch those down, and that's worked really well. If I just stand up to show you, again, I've got the little tie detail at the front, and yeah, it's lovely. Really like it. And as I say, I think it's just, you know, we all need these loose fit, easy wearing t-shirt type tops in our wardrobes, and I think what I like about this is with that little knot detail at the front, it's just something a little bit different from just your standard t-shirt, and yeah, it's just a great little pattern. So what I would say is, if you are a big fan of indie patterns, especially some of the indie designers that have been around a while now, just go back and look back at some of their old patterns, because some of them are there's some real gems amongst them, and the ones that we don't immediately sort of think of, and the ones that spring to mind. So I can see, yeah, I've got 3 of these now, and they're going to get loads of wear. I think because of obviously the seam that runs down the sort of one side, which makes it asymmetric. Obviously it's lost in the 3 that I've made. You don't tend to see it, and I'm quite happy with that, because I think the key for me is about the knot detail at the bottom on the hem. But it would also be good for colour blocking. You know, you could use 2 different colours and have the side panel in a slightly different colour if you wanted to. I just don't think that's the kind of look I'd probably want to go for, but no, really happy with them. There's not a lot else I can tell you about this pattern. That's it. So let me know if you've sewn any patterns from indie designers that weren't the most popular out there, and what did you think about them? I can see me making loads more of these tops, if I'm perfectly honest. I think I'd like to make some just a little bit more cropped to wear with high-waisted shorts in summer. I think that would be really nice. I might even look about moving the tie detail, so making it central with a little tie right in the centre of the front. I think that could look quite cute as well. It'd be nice to maybe do the cap sleeves in a different fabric, a different coloured fabric. But yeah, a few options with it, so it's a great little staple. Okay, so that's it from me today. I hope you've enjoyed this quick little video to go through my latest make, and yeah, I hope whatever you're doing you enjoy the rest of your weekend. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and yeah, give me the thumbs up for this video if you've liked what you've seen, and I will be back really soon. Bye bye.